Hi, welcome everyone. I am Dr. Rajkumar from School of Physics and Material Science, Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala. This video is in continuation with the previous one in which we studied Introduction to Computer Programming in Fortran. So in continuation to that video, in this video we will learn about flow of control in a Fortran program. So flow of control in a program is of three types: sequential, selective, and repetitive structure. So to begin with, a sequential structure, execution of instruction is carried out one by one, starting from the top line to bottom line. The basic layout of the program in sequential structure is: first is input, then we have processing of data, then output, then stop and end. So stop means termination of logic of the program. There can be more than one stop statements, and if a program encountered a stop statement while execution, this message is displayed on the screen: stop, program terminated. Similarly, end represents physical end of the program, and it is always placed at the end of the program, and there is only one end statement in the program. And on encountering this statement, computer will display error message that if anything is written after the end statement. So let us consider a program to find surface area of sphere for understanding a sequential structure. So I have written a program for finding surface area, and I defined two variables, r and surface area, as real variable and a constant pi whose value is 3.14159. So for calculating surface area we need radius, so I print for the user for entering radius and read that radius in variable r. Now surface area is defined as 4 pi r square. I have written this expression in Fortran, and finally the surface area is printed onto the screen with this statement. Then stop and end of the program. So what this program is doing, it is following sequential structure, that is flow is going from top to bottom. Initially we defined the variables, assigned the variables and constants, asked the user for entering the values, did the processing for calculating the surface area, and finally printing the output onto the screen. So one by one from top to the bottom. If you execute this program, it will ask the user enter the radius. I have entered it as 10. It will print surface area is equal to this much of amount, and finally program is terminated. So this is a way of sequential structure in a program. Then is selective structure. So sometimes in a program few statements need to be bypassed depending upon conditions applied. So following statements are used for the said purpose. First is go to statement. It means unconditional transfer of control, jump from one part of program to another. So you need not to check any condition. Even simply you write go to the line number, say 10, it will move on to 10 by skipping all the lines in between. So syntax for this statement is go to n. N can have value from 1 to 99999, 5 digits. So this is line number, or you can also call it as label number. So n should not be repeated in the program, like you cannot repeat equation number. Similarly, this is label number in a Fortran program. Alright, now I have written a program for finding sum of three numbers with the use of this selective structure go to statement. I have started the program, defined four variables a, b, c and sum1 as real variables. Then I have asked the user to enter three variables a, b, c into a variable a, b and c using read statement. and labeled this equation, this line as 10. Finally, sum 1 is equal to a plus b plus c. Simply, this is expression for summation. You note one thing, that I have defined variable a as a in lowercase. I have entered its value in lowercase, but I am using in summation it as uppercase. So it doesn't matter. Fortran is not case sensitive. Similarly, one thing more to notice is that I have defined variable as sum1, not sum, because sum is an inbuilt Fortran function. So in order to avoid confusion with that, I have just simply written 1 at the end of this variable. So sum1 is equal to a plus b plus c. Output is written onto the screen, sum is equal to sum1. Then without doing any condition check, I simply write go to 10. It will again move on to the label number 10, and then again start executing the statements from top to bottom. Alright, so if we execute this program, the output is like this. Enter A, B and C. I have entered 3 number 1, 2 and 3. It prints sum is equal to 6. Alright, which is fine. Then I write go to 10. So it is again going to label number 10, at which statement is enter ABC. It has printed. So it will again asking the user to enter 3 numbers, and it will continue to repeat infinitely because there is unconditional go to statement. So for stopping that program, you can use combination of Control and C keys from the keyboard to terminate this program. So alright, so repeat is line number label number 10, and after that 3 statements. So total 4 statements are executed infinitely using go to statement in this program. So this is selective structure is executed. Secondly, in selective structure we have if statements. For decision making structures require that the programmer specify one or more conditions to be evaluated or tested by the program along with the statement or statements that need to be executed if condition is determined to be true, and optionally other statements to be executed if condition is determined to be false. Alright, so if I take the help of flow chart in explaining this if statement, so it is flow is coming from top to bottom, and it is this diamond shaped symbol, and condition is written in this, and depending upon whether it is true or false, there are 2 arms of going out from this condition. So if it is true, certain set of statements need to be executed. If it is false, it has to bypass this set of statement. You can also mention certain set of statements here as well in case of false. Alright, so now this if statement is of following types: arithmetic if, logical if, block if, nested if, nested block if, and multi-alternative block if. So first is arithmetic if. Its syntax is if in parenthesis in bracket certain arithmetic expression which finally gives you a number, and outside the parenthesis we have n1, n2, n3 separated by comma. So these are line numbers, label numbers in the program, defined in the program already. So let us take the help of this simple program written in Fortran to understand arithmetic if. So I have defined a variable real x, and I ask user to enter the x. So this number is stored in the variable x. So let us write syntax for arithmetic if. So if in bracket I have written arithmetic expression, or either you can simply write variable as well. So I have written x. So what it does? So I have written 3 label numbers 10, 20 and 30 separated by comma. What this arithmetic if will do, depending upon the value and sign, depending upon the sign of x, whether it is negative, 0 or positive, it will go to label number 10. If it is negative, it will go to label number 20 if it is 0, and if it is positive, it will go to label number 30. So I have written label number 10, 20 and 30, and it displays the message. If 10, write x is negative. If it is 20, write x is 0. If it is 30, write x is positive, simply. And in order to avoid, suppose the number is negative, so it will go to 10 and it will write x is negative. If I do not write go to 100, if I do not break the execution flow, then it will go to statement number 20 automatically, because it is flow is going from top to bottom. So on 20 it will write x is 0, and further it will write x is positive. So our purpose is not this one. So we need to do selective structure execution. So I have written go to 100 and defined 100 as stop. So after execution, the statement at label number 10, it has to stop, or you can send it to any other statement in the program. After writing that x is 0 from label number 20, it has to stop. So I have written go to 100 again. And after writing x is positive, you need not to write go to 100, because the next statement after this write statement is already stop. On execution, we'll get output like this: enter x. If I enter 0, so this program will print x is 0 and simply terminates. So this is arithmetic if. Based on the sign of the expression or variable, it will go to label number n1, n2 and n3. Then is logical if statement. Syntax of logical if is: if in parenthesis logical expression which has generally value true or false, and in continuity in same line we have statement number 1, and in next line statement number 2. Now if logical expression is true, statement number 1 will be executed, and if logical expression is false, it will not execute statement number 1, it will directly jump to statement number 2. So this is the syntax and significance of logical if statement. Next is block if statement. It is also known as if then, else if, else and if statement. Syntax is: if inside parentheses we have logical expression, then a single statement or set of statements if the condition is true, else other single statement or set of statements if it is false, then end if. If we use flowchart for explaining block if statement, flow is coming from top onto this diamond shaped box, condition is checked, and if it is true, it will execute set of statement, and if it is false, that is else code, it will execute the statement after else. Then is nested block if statement. In this, the syntax is like, but before moving to syntax, what is nested block if? It means, nested means loop inside a loop, or if statement inside a if statement. So syntax is: if logical expression 1, then, that is if logical expression 1 is true, execute when the boolean expression 1 is true. Alright, so these set of statement will be executed if first logical expression is true, and inside this if loop we have again defined another if loop. If logical expression 2, then it has to execute this set of statement and end if. Remember, this is completion of inner if loop, and after that, if you want to write after this and if you want to write another statement, you can write, or simply stop the outer if loop. So the loop, the condition inside this rectangular box is nested if statement inside a outer if statement. Alright, then fifth one is multi-alternative block if statement, which is also if, else if, and if statement. Syntax is: if logical expression 1, then execute a set of statements. Else, if it is not true, again check the condition. Logical expression 2, if it is true, execute second block of statements. Further, if it is not true, then again check the condition. So logical expression 3, if it is true, then execute this set of statement. Else, remember this else is with the outermost if loop. So else means if logical expression 1 is false, then it has to calculate block 4 or execute block 4 and end if. So if it is true, a logical expression 1 is true, it has multiple checks inside this true statement of logical expression 1. Alright, so this is called nesting multi-alternative block if statement. So the statements of else if inside this rectangular box is multi-alternative block if inside a outer if, else and if statement simply. Then we have third kind of structure, repetitive structure in Fortran. So sometimes there may be a situation when you need to execute a block of code several number of times. Alright, so a loop of statement allow us to execute a statement or a group of statements multiple times. So there are different ways of implementing this. In Fortran we have following ways of implementing. This is, first one is using combination of if and goto statement. So for explaining that, we take the help of this simple program which calculates sum of first n numbers. That is, I defined in this program 3 variables, sum1, icount and n as integer. Remember, I use sum1, not sum. I've already explained it. And I've used icount, not simply count, because if I place I, it is by default an integer, and n, which is by default an integer. So I have explicitly defined them as an integer because it is in a good practice to define all the variables at the beginning of the program. So then I asked the user to enter the number up to which sum is required. So this is stored in a variable n. I start the counter from 1 because we need to sum first n number starting from 1. And I used a variable sum1 whose starting value is 0. If we do not start it with 0, it will gain some garbage value from the system, computer's memory. Now I have defined a variable 10 in front of the statement sum1 is equal to sum1 plus icount. This statement is used for summation. Then after that I increase the counter. So if one by one, if number 1 is goes to some one variable, then we need another number 2, then 3 and 4 and so on up to n for addition. So I give increment to the counter. Icount is equal to icount plus 1. Alright, and I check the condition whether this icount is less than or equal to n. If it is true, then go to 10. Again follow the summation procedure, else write that sum of first n number is sum1, stop and end. Alright, if we execute this program, I have written user asked enter n. I have written number n is equal to 10. Then this program will give sum of first 10 numbers is 55. So what is repetition in this? Suppose if we manually try to understand that how this program is executing, icount is 1, sum1 is 0, so sum1 at label number 10 is 0 plus 1, which is again 0 plus 1 is 1. So new value of sum1 is 1. Icount is icount plus 1. So icount initially was 1. We have again added a number 1, so it becomes 2. So the condition now checked is if 2 is less than equal to 10. Yes, of course, it is true. Go to 10. Again, it will follow the same process. Now sum1 is equal to sum1, which was earlier 0, but now it has already a value of 1. So 1 plus new value of I count is 2. So 1 plus 2 becomes 3. Now sum 1 is equal to 3 and I count is 2 plus 1, which is 3. So again check the condition. If 3 is less than or equal to 10, yes, it is true, go to 10, and so on. So it will keep on repeating until as we find I count become 10. In this case, it will check if 10 is less than or equal to 10. Yes, this time is also it is true. Again it will move to the label number 10 and sum the number. Finally, I count becomes 11. Now it checks the condition. If 11 is less than or equal to 10, it is not true. It will move on to next statement. Right, sum of first 10 numbers is 55. Stop the program. So by this combination of if and go to, we can repeat certain set of statements for our purpose. Now next one is do loop in Fortran. So we have various set of do loops, do continue, do undo, do while, and so on. So first one is do continue loop statement. The purpose is same. We need to repeat certain set of statement or block of statement for a number of times. So the general form of this statement is do, n is label number, a counter I which start from I start is a value, comma I terminating the final value, and comma I step. About it is I step is the increment in I start in order to reach to I terminating point. If I step is defined, then it is fine. If it is not defined, then by default it is 1. So then set of statements and the same label number n here as well in front of continue. So this is do continue loop statement. We can also calculate that from this loop that how many number of times a loop gets executed, which is given by m is equal to I terminating minus I start divided by I step plus 1. So this is the number of times this loop is executing this set of statements. If we compare it with the if go to statement, if condition is checked, you do certain set of statements. If condition is checked, if it is true, again execute certain set of statements and go back to upper line and further again check the same condition and so on. This is repetitive structure, and if at certain place condition is found to be false, terminate or come out of this repetitive loop. Now flowchart, how to represent this do loop in a flowchart. We have a hexagonal symbol for this do loop and we write do say n is equal to 10. So do 10 I from 1 to n, and by default I step is not mentioned, so it is 1. And inside this symbol we have a body of do loop, and for 10 continue we have this 10 is label number which is written inside this circular symbol, and this outer body of this 10 and hexagonal symbol, they are connected by dashed arrows, and inner body is connected by solid arrows. Flow is from top to bottom. So this is how we represent do loop in a flowchart. Then we have nested do loops. What it means? Do loop inside a do loop. So we can also do that. For that I use the help of this simple program. I asked user to enter number n and read that number in a variable n. So n is, I defined it as integer. So please note that the counter I start, I terminating or I step, they are all integers. They are not real numbers. So that is why we always use I, j, k, l, m, n or the integer defined by user in the do loop statements. So they are actually serving as a counter. So counter is always in integers. So it is either 1, 2, 3, and it should also not be negative. So then I used a outer do loop do 10 I from 1 to 10 and 10 continue. So simply this is outer do loop, and in this outer do loop I have further nested another do loop inside this green box. Do 20 j from 1 to n, write I and j. So I have simply written I and j inside this inner do loop and 20 continue. Alright, then stop and end. So what this program will do, if I try to execute this program, the output will be like this. Enter n. If I enter, it is 2. So the outer do loop will go from 1 to 2. Also inner loop will go from 1 to 2. So for each value of I, initially its initial value is 1. Inner do loop will execute all its values. So j can take value from 1 and 2. So j is 1 and 2 for each value of I. Next value of I is 2. Now for this I is equal to 2, j can execute all the values from 1 to 2. So this is how nested do loop works. Next one is do while loop. So it will execute the block of statements while condition is true. Sometimes we do not know how many times we need to execute or we need to repeat a certain set of statements. So in this case, we want that if we have certain condition, if it is true, keep on executing the set of statement, and if it is false, come out of the loop. So do while loop serve this purpose. So we take a simple example of this program. Again, enter any number n. The purpose of this program is to explain how do while is working and printing the number starting from n to the condition specified. So I have written in do while, I have written the condition n greater than 0. So whatever, and stop this do while program loop with the help of end do statement. So whatever I write inside this do while loop, which is in this green box, we have two statements in the do while loop, write n and n is equal to n minus 1. So until unless n is greater than 0, it will keep on executing these two statements depending upon the value of n. Alright, now if I try to execute this program, what is the output? If I enter n is equal to 4, it will print. So first n is equal to 4. If n is greater than 0, that is if 4 is greater than 0, yes it is, it will print 4. Now new value of n is 4 minus 1, 3. Again it will move on to above statement for checking the expression condition. If 3 is greater than 0, yes, it will print 3, and so on. It will keep on executing until unless it finds n becomes less than 0. In that case, if n is negative, so if say minus 1, if minus 1 is greater than 0, or even for 0, if n becomes 0, if 0 is greater than 0, no, it will terminate and come out of the program. So this is the purpose. This same program you can also use for n is equal to 100, n is equal to 1000. It will keep on printing. So in advance, we didn't know how many times we want to execute, but depending upon the expression specified, it can execute any number of times depending upon the input. Next is repetitive structure is do and do loop. The simple statement for do and do loop is do I from initial value comma final value. I step is not mentioned, so it is by default 1. Inside this do loop, we have a simple write statement, write I and end do. So this is the structure, syntax do I from starting to final value and end do. This is the do and do syntax. So if I execute this program, it will print, it will not check any condition at all. It simply execute the program from 1 to 5 counter, and what we want, what we expect from the program, simply print the value of I. So it will print I is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and representing how many times this program is repeating this do loop. So in this video, we studied about the flow of control, which was sequential, the normal from top to bottom, then selective structure, and then repetitive structure. So in next video, we'll discuss about arrays, subprograms which include functions and subroutines, and also we'll learn about the file handling. Thank you for watching this video.